From the rain, things change, yet somehow they stay the same. I spread love, carry lots of pain. I am a pawn, player in the game. Papa said, what you earn, you gain. Don't get lost in fashion and fame. Learn to be yourself and not the same way. We are just soldiers. Oh, sent from the ruler. Yay, we are just soldiers. Oh, true believer. Hey, listen up when the king is calling. Watch out, Babylon is falling. Just soldiers rolling forward. Nothing curse a love like this. Not gonna let go of this feeling. Never ever gonna stop believing. Vibrations are so healing. Nothing curse a love like earthquake and brimstone, hotter fire, the flames are rising higher, fire, lightning and thunder, boom, watch your water come and wash away the border. With honor and pride, we swim against the tide. Upon your chariot I ride, the most high. Your light is my guide, Selassie on my side. So bless my brethren upon the battlefield. Bless my sister, our love is our shield. With conviction, we bust the seven seal. Your knowledge reveal. We are just soldiers. Oh, sent from the ruler. Hey, we are just soldiers. Oh, true believe. Listen up when the king is calling. Watch out, Babylon is falling. Just soldiers rolling forward. Nothing curse a love like this. Not gonna let go of this feeling. Never ever gonna stop believing. Vibrations are so healing. Nothing curse a love like earthquake and brimstone, hotter fire, the flames are rising higher. We are just soldiers, oh, sent from the ruler. Yay, we are just soldiers, oh, true believer. Hey, we are just soldiers, sent from the ruler. We are just soldiers, true believer.
Mighty Howard, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invitation. Nice to play some tunes, some jams. I'm all right.
We are so excited. Let's continue with the music.
Then that was Jaw Soldier. This next one is Zulu Garden. So. Garden, don't let your heart harden. Don't follow the heathen. Before you know it, you lose your way. Come sit with the lion, lay down with the lamb. Man, we are going to Zion, getting closer every day. Zulu Garden, Zulu Garden, hey. Zulu, 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 Zulu. Shutting down poverty, searching for clarity. Bless me, Rastafari, yes, we working for prosperity. This is one solution for the Babylon conspiracy. Keep a clean heart and share your positivity. Repatriate, bless me, roots and culture. Come meditate, teachings of the master. Yes, communicate, achieve what you after. Why? Love and laughter. Zulu Garden, Zulu Garden, yay, yay. Zulu, 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 Zulu. Ooh, oh, ooh, oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Zulu Garden, Zulu Garden, yeah, yeah. Zulu, 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 Zulu. Big Carter on the keys. Zulu Garden, Zulu Garden, yeah, yeah. Zulu Garden, Zulu Garden. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, mighty Howard. And now let's play some other vibes. Here we go. That's not quite my tempo. Yeah. It's okay.
Play with me.
Okay. Toi, baby, baby, tout est loin de moi. Baby, baby, sois gentil une fois. Quand tu me fais l'amour, je crois quand même que je vivrai toujours. Et peut-être c'est mon audace qui casse la timidité qu'on est en face à face. Qu'ils m'ont contre de toi d'elle-même. Mon ton et te dire je t'aime. Si à cette heure, tes sommes commettent que j'aurai un ensuite des relations humaines. C'est juste parce que tu n'appartiens à moi. Baby, baby, dis-moi pourquoi. One, two, three, and four. Let me hear some two and more. Came to Hamburg to play today. Might stay with each other, sister and brother. Okay, we're gonna fade in little by little to the talk we want to do, and it's gonna be very interesting because Howard got a lot of things to tell us about his travel around the world. Carter, would you kindly change the batteries in this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Oh, today is a crazy day. It's a new year, and it's a new year after Corona, so it's a whole new world. And I'm still getting used to this new reality. that we
Literally new
all-
reality. This
Yeah.
is how you call it.
Yeah. It's definitely a new. It's most definitely a new reality. I mean, people made Hollywood films about situations like this, but to actually live it is wild.
It's true.
Yeah.
And yeah, now you can hear me. Sorry. So, what's changed in your life, after Corona, after COVID?
Well, actually, what COVID did for me is it brought me back to. Oh, is that for me?
Thank you,
Oh.
Carter. That's very kind.
I get a chair.
Yeah. So I would just say that Carter is a keyboard player from Minnesota who helped us here with the broadcast. It's getting a bit complicated here, but we're gonna sort it out. And then we're very thankful for your help, Carter. And
That's cool.
Howard,
You let me know where it's comfortable.
where are you from, Howard?
That is a very good question. I've been asking myself that question since I was a tiny little kid.
Yeah.
Because I was born in Denver, Colorado. Dun,
Uh-huh.
dun, 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 dun. No, we'll get shadow panned. So I was born in Denver, Colorado. My mom
It's okay, Carter.
traveled the
Thank you.
world. Thanks, Carter. My mama traveled the world. She was born in Harlem, grew up in New York in a large family, and
How many kids?
I have 4 aunts. That means it was a family of 5 girls. Whew, I don't even want to imagine. Harlem in the 40s and 50s, 60s. 5 girls, husband and wife, black. Boy, I can't imagine.
5 girls.
5 girls. My mom is the oldest
Mm.
from the girls. She's the oldest sister, and she ran away from New York in her 20s because at that time she lived a very traditional Catholic lifestyle where it was her job to clean the house, to clean everyone's clothes, to make everyone's clothes, to cook every dinner, to clean up after every dinner, to make sure that the homework from all of her sisters were done. She basically played the role of mother while her mother played the role of mother. So, but that was traditionally back then normal, especially in Catholic families. Sometimes you see that in black families. So my mama ran away as a hippie from New York, just wanting to get away from the traditionalist lifestyle.
Yeah.
And after traveling, after hitchhiking many portions of the world of the continent again and again and again, she landed in Denver, Colorado, and met my papa. Now my daddy is a big black, or was a big black cowboy,
Mm.
really tall, dark drink of water, cowboy hat, boots, the string tie, the whole thing. Grew up on a farm in Texas, close to the border of Oklahoma, and
Have to be tough to grow up in a farm in Texas.
and when I'm thinking about it, especially if I think about my 2 parents, I think about what their childhood must have been like. Because my father, he didn't share so much of his life with me. The first plane trip I ever took, I took to his hometown. I don't even remember where it was. I met his family once while I was there. Never saw them again. Never heard from them again. It's a very strange situation. But I'm sure the childhood of my father was not easy growing up on a farm. He also had a few brothers and sisters. It was not a small family. And he used to tell me stories about, they would eat the leftovers from what they didn't sell
Mm.
was for dinner.
Mm.
And being young, black, and in Texas, boy, I don't even want to try and imagine. But in Colorado, my mom ran into the Rocky Mountains and fell in love. If you grew up in concrete jungle Harlem and you roll into Denver, Colorado, when you drive in the highway, the mountains come up out of the ground, because you're rising in elevation. So you're driving and all the roads are straight, and you come up and these mountains, majestic mountains, just rise up out of the ground. And my mom was like, okay, I'm home. I'm staying here. No
Nice.
problem. And so I was born in Denver, Colorado. Yeah, that's the beginning of the story.
And let's fast forward to now.
Yeah. So, what did Corona? Yeah. So the question was, what's different before Corona? What's now? What Corona did for me is it reminded me of who I was when I decided to leave America. And who I was I was a teenage kid in his 20s who knew what he wanted to do. I knew I wanted to play music. I knew I wanted to be working in film or theater or anything creative, choir. I had studied throughout my schooling, focusing on the arts. I was a good kid. I was a good student. Math is horrible. Everything else is okay. But I never felt like an American. I never felt welcome. I never felt like my friends did. I went to high school and saw the life that they lived and knew that my life wasn't the same. And that's why I decided I need to go out and see the world and how other people do it and see what's really out there. Otherwise, my other choice was to stay in Colorado and live and exist there. And that was scary, the idea for me. Colorado is a massive space. Colorado's the same size as Germany. And to just stay in this one spot and live an entire life, to be born, to live, and to die in this one spot and never see the rest of the world was I used to get panic shock. And so I decided, at that time I was sleeping on my mama's couch with no job. I didn't have my own place. I really didn't have a good perspective on what I was going to do. I was going from job to job, really unhappy. And I said to myself, Howard, you've always dreamt about this. September 11th had just occurred. The buildings fell. I watched it live. And I said to myself, with such things going on in the world, if you don't take your opportunity, it's going to pass you by. And I was thinking about I remember I stood on the rooftop of the World Trade Center when I was in New York. I stood at the top of the Empire State Building.
On the 9/11, you were there on the top.
No. But I while I'm watching the building fall, I'm thinking to myself, I remember when I was there with my family.
Yeah, of course.
And it's gone now. And it's gone. In the moment I'm watching it, it's gone. And that really woke me up to the idea that Montemori, there's this Latin saying, everything dies. And it really occurred to me like,
Babylon is on fire.
Yeah. Go see these places with your own two eyes and view the world through your own filter of your own heart before you don't get the chance. That's what I heard. And
it's an inner call that, for example, your two sisters didn't hear this inner call.
No.
And 98% of your friends in America never left America.
No.
It's an
didn't
inner
leave
call.
the city.
Didn't leave the city.
Most of my friends in high school who were dating each other are now married. And that idea is crazy to me, because that means you spent your life with the one. I mean, I'm not trying to diss those people who found their sweetheart in high school, married them, had kids, blah, 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 blah. But I knew for me there was more life out there. I at least wanted to experience it before I accepted the idea of living and dying in Colorado. So
and that's a pulse you felt on your 20s. Not on as a teenager, you didn't know that that's what's going to happen.
No, I knew that I wanted to do something with art, but I had not taken the step to apply it to reality.
You see, in my case, it was different. I was 16, grew up in Tel Aviv, and all of a sudden, when I was 15, my father got a job offer in Paris, and I was excited to move, and we moved to Paris. But it was a shock, and I was not formed yet to know that I want it.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting aspect in your story that you were 20, 21, 22, 20. You knew already that that's the inner call.
And I come from a long family of artists. My mother was a Latin dance teacher. She was also in theater. That she used the theater to get out of her house and to get away from this responsibility of taking care of the kids. So she would tell her parents, I got a musical next month. So every day I'm going to be down there for rehearsal. I can cook when I can cook, but when there's rehearsal, I got to go. And I think my mother understood her son when I said, Mama, I need to go to Europe.
Yeah.
And I did it like an American would do it. I researched nothing. I spoke to no one. I had no idea of what was to come. I simply knew that there was a world out there that I wanted to see. And so I moved to Edinburgh, Scotland without any type of planning whatsoever. I landed there not knowing.
And you were not afraid?
I was very much so afraid, but I had cojones. I remember being young and full of fire. I knew at that point, after September 11th, it felt like if I don't do what I want to do, I'm not going to get the chance. So I knew.
And it's so exciting to make this move. I did it when I was 32.
Yeah.
When I was 16, I moved to Paris with my parents, but then when I was 32, I moved from Tel Aviv to London. And the feeling of that's what I dreamed of.
Yeah.
Like one time in my life, you know, I've been like really going for it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's because you remember this scene from Braveheart? You know this movie?
I stayed. My first place that I landed in Europe was Edinburgh, Scotland.
Exactly.
So I know all about Braveheart.
When he tell them, yeah, you fight and you might die.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But many years from now, on your deathbed, you will remember that one time you had a chance, one time, to fight
Right.
and to get your freedom.
Right.
And it doesn't happen a lot in your life of a man.
No.
Especially this kind of I'm leaving.
Yeah. Especially the decision here.
The
and
decision here and everybody around you like what the, like I was
Yeah.
32, I was kind of established in Tel Aviv and blah blah. What the fuck you doing? You got a
Yeah.
job, you playing
Yeah.
the TV.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Where
Yeah.
are you gonna eat?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm so excited that I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
I still have to apologize to my sister. I have two sisters. I'm the oldest of my family. Like my mother is the oldest of hers. And my youngest sister, I think I really broke her heart because we're all 7 years apart, which means I'm 14 years apart from my youngest sister. And when I left, she was, first of all, I was a bit of a father figure in my family.
Sure.
And I didn't have the time or the emotional experience to know I should explain to my sister what's happening. You know, okay, my brother's going to Europe.
Fuck.
For
How
a
old was
while.
she? How old was she?
8?
And you were
No. I was taking her to school. If I was 27, 20, 12. She was
Okay,
12, 12, 13. And there wasn't there wasn't a party.
and your
there
dad wasn't
a-
around.
And my dad had passed away when I was 16. And for my sisters, I ended up playing the father role.
Sure.
So not having that typical Hollywood discussion of sitting at a table to a nice dinner and talking about, you know, what Howard is thinking about doing, I said to my mother one day, Mama, I want to leave America. And she said, yeah, son, I know. She said, I get it. You want to do this music thing, and I've known you've wanted to do this music thing, and I know you're scared about doing it in America. So go do it in Europe. Go make your experience. And I was shocked because I thought she would say no. And instead, she was 100% behind me. She said, you know, otherwise, your other option, you're sleeping here on my couch. You have no real future. You have no real fire. But I can see in your eyes you're burning for this. So go. And with that, I ran. I left. And I landed in Edinburgh. I knew one person there who was on holiday, which was good to like land and speak to someone. But she left 2 weeks after that. And the books, the book starts there. Week 2 in Scotland, nowhere to live, no job. I know nobody. I have a tourist visa of 7 months, and I just had to make it work. Now, fast forward through a few years of moving about. I lived in Ireland. I lived in Amsterdam, but as a tourist. Eventually, I met my ex-wife. She was born in Poland, but she grew up here in Hamburg. And as we decided to start a family, the challenge was, are we going to have this family in America, or are we going to do this? Are we going to raise this family where I'm familiar, or are we going to raise this family where she's familiar? And her suggestion to me was, let's move to Hamburg. You make yourself self-employed, professional as a musician. You be the best father you can be. You be the best husband you can be. She wanted to do graphic design. She knew Hamburg because she grew up here. And she was the 30th, 40th person who told me in these 3 years, Howard, if you want to make real professional reggae music, go to Germany. And I laughed at her. Germany? Are you crazy? I'm not going to Germany to make reggae music. I've never heard anything crazier.
Yeah.
But her plan was 1,000% correct. I came to Germany at that time. They handed me the language for free. They helped me make myself self-employed. I instantly fell into a market that was burning. When I got here 17 years ago, I was meeting people and going directly on tour. My first tour was in France. I did a month with a Canadian reggae producer. When something like that pays off like that, this feeling you were talking about, landing in London and you're living your dream, no matter how dirty, no matter how scary it is, you're doing the thing you want to do and you're really living it, like you're feeling it, everything that comes with it.
Sure.
That was and Corona forced me, and I'm quite happy about it, to remember what that was like, because that feeling I noticed in Corona when all the other things fell away, I noticed that little boy was gone.
Yeah.
And I missed him. I miss that little Howard. I miss 24-year-old Howard who didn't give a just did what he wanted to. And I don't mean in an egotistical way. I mean more so, I like my naivete. And naivety is what keeps me as an artist open to new things. And Corona forced me to see in the mirror that I had become hardened and cold.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do with the time, with this world, which is so mechanic and so somewhat cold.
Yeah.
And you are a very, very educated person on many subjects, whether it's music, black culture, general history. I had a fascinating talk with you the first time we met 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, just let's bring this guy because he got such a story. And we are also kind of we find each other on our journey.
Path, yeah.
I have the feeling that Corona, this is a hard term, but I will say it. I feel that Corona did to the art, to the musicians, what the Holocaust did to the Jews.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
never, we like the Jewish people, we never recovered in terms of number. Yeah. I know it's a very hard
It is,
but you see the point. I feel that the Corona came and said, you guys believe in music, you guys believe in spirituality, paf, you know?
I will agree with you, but I will also agree to disagree, because on the flip side of that, what you're saying is correct. Many people will not understand that who don't understand what we live.
The life of a musician.
They'll say that comparison is unfair, but actually it's a fair comparison in the sense that in the marketplace, it crippled the business.
Yeah.
Many middle-sized venues closed without choice, without any option.
These are show business. I went in the high street of Hamburg 2 days ago with my wife, and she told me, look how many shops are closed. So if the corporate clothes are closed, C&A, etc., what do you expect from a club owner?
Exactly.
Please continue.
That is our classroom, that is our office. The stage is where we are protected, where we control our reality.
Yeah.
And Corona broke us,
Yeah.
all of us. The club market, the entire business market collapsed. And that was a real shock for me as a human being too. I had also, a few years ago, I had taken a pause because I wanted to get myself psychologically, coming to Germany, starting a family, speaking a new language, making yourself self-employed, it was a lot.
Yeah, of course.
And after a few years, I definitely had a burnout. Me and my wife, we separated, and I said to myself, Howard, you need to double check if music is really your thing because you're losing everything. You know, I lost my wife. It wasn't how I was planning to do it. So I took 2 years off and eventually realized after the 2 years, nope, music is my thing. That's me. I'm a musician. I got it.
Sure.
And then 2019, 2020, bam, Corona. So what I was, on the one side, it crippled us all.
Sure.
It really broke the kneecaps of many artists and art forms. But on the flip side, I also noticed many artists took the opportunity, and there was never in history was there more music made as in the Corona time. Many people took the opportunity to cathartically
Yeah, I
confront.
built this studio during Corona,
You see,
for example.
you see, many people took the opportunity in the sense of a very Zen type of approach. Okay, I can't control the situation. I can't control what's going on out
Yeah.
there, but I need to control something. So I'm just going to obsessively focus on the thing that I love and hope this other thing blows
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, you had a peace of mind. You had a kind of peace of mind. Nobody was,
the space
hey,
to- yeah.
tomorrow I'm performing there.
Right.
Hey, my video.
That all
like
went away.
everything, like it was a sabbatic year
It
for
was
everyone.
you and the mirror,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people.
And it's happened only for one generation.
Yeah.
Maybe the next generation will never know it.
But funny enough, you made that comparison. Let's be honest. Those people who experienced World War II, they were confronted with the person in the mirror
Yes.
because you have nothing
but
else.
he was hungry. And
Yeah,
he was
but
dying.
see, that's what I'm saying. There's
Let's
you have
don't-
it's,
yeah.
it's the idea that you have a lack of hope.
Yeah.
Having a lack of hope leaves you with nothing but your soul,
Yeah.
and that's it. You're naked,
Yeah.
as if you were born on that
Yeah.
day. You have no idea where your food's coming from. You have no idea if the sun's going
Totally.
to shine. You have no idea if there's going to be a roof over your head. You have no idea. What artists do, what I love, is that we create realities so that we can be creators.
It's true.
And in Corona, I instinctively said to myself, okay, I need to write a manifesto. I was back to being the boy on the couch looking at the buildings falling in New York. I said to myself, Howard, what are the things that you wanted to do? Remember what that was when you left? What were the things you wanted to do? And I wrote a manifesto, all the different projects, the different bands, the different theater, the book I want to write. I wrote out a manifesto. And I said to myself, and this was right in the middle, this is the crossover between 20 and 21. And I said to myself, or was it 21 and 22 that was Corona? I don't remember. But right in the middle, in between the 2 years, I made the manifesto because I felt like I needed the hope. I needed something to focus on. I needed something to look
Sure.
towards as a light at the end of the tunnel. And I needed something to block out the atmosphere, which was duster. It was really dark. Yeah, everybody was, everybody was talking about the apocalypse.
Sure.
And I felt really lucky writing this manifesto because it brought that little guy, it brought that 22-year-old Howard right back.
That's a beautiful thing to see at you, in like a naivety and a full respect to the artist within you.
Mm.
And let me ask you, what is true artist in your eyes?
Artist or artistry?
Artist. Who is the true artist?
Who is a true artist? Okay. I developed in my manifesto workshops because I noticed that there are aspects of different types of art forms that are healing, that we need as people, that do us a lot of good. And I think the true artist is someone who, similar to me, I was actually thinking about this question on the way over here. It's funny that you asked that. You have
Really?
you have musicians who, and this is my true deep down belief. You have musicians who are amazing technical musicians. They have technical skill beyond, you can call them geniuses. That's impressive, but it's impressive to me for about 0.2 of a second. For 0.2 of a second, I am fully into you. Wow, how do you do that? I can't believe it. But what holds me, what I find to be a true artist, is someone who can connect whatever handcraft they're using and connect their emotion to where I resonate with it. But let me explain that because it's a really deep idea. Resonation is the harmony of vibration, right? So if you feel something, you can either put it into words, or you can use body language, or you could sing, there are different ways you can communicate it. However you choose, if whatever you choose as a form makes me feel what you're feeling, then we resonate. That's a harmony. That's a real communication. That is a true artist. Because there's a massive difference between playing the guitar technically well and making your guitar weep like Jimi Hendrix. Those are two different things. And he was technically savvy, but he played in a way that spoke to people's soul.
Sure.
And that's a different thing.
Oh, you think
Those are-
about a song like Wish You Were Here, which
Yeah.
like everyone.
Everybody knows this song. Everybody feels something. And my goal as an artist is to connect what I'm doing with what I'm feeling, so that others feel, and we can build a conversation that way. Sadly, art, when we talk about monetizing it, most people, it's that typical
Like you said in the first song, we are soldier of.
we are soldiers of Jah. I chose not to be a soldier of the American government, and I came very close. My father was a soldier. My grandfather was a soldier. I saw no hope for me as a young boy. I told myself as a black boy, you have no future unless you do A, B, C, or D. And A, B, and C, and D was A, military, B, police force, C, drugs.
Oh, maybe police force with drugs is like
Well, but if you look at Hollywood, if you think of yourself, think of me as a small boy in America at that time, the only thing that was on TV was, if you saw a black actor, it was robber number 1 or robber number 2,
Sure.
you know? And if they were police officers, then they weren't captains, you know, but they had good jobs. And that's the way they told it to us. So
And you are definitely sure that today Howard Bridges, the mighty Howard, is a more complete, content, happier person than the Howard that you would stay in America.
I know that for a fact.
Okay.
I was the amount.
Even though you live as a foreigner,
Yeah.
dude, you went through a lot, I'm sure.
I have stories.
Wow.
You know, losing my wife was it took me years
Of course.
to really get myself back together. I have a great relationship with my daughter, but
Who is 16 and
who-
is
who's
lovely.
16,
I
17
saw.
this year. But I
What is
know
her name?
Kisa.
Kisa.
Kisa comes from Kenya. It means princess, of course.
Mm.
So I know deep down in my soul for a fact that I would have found Colorado immensely boring.
Well, what about New York or Harlem or I don't know what?
New
is
York
like
is too much
the
for me.
jungle.
New York, I've been to Paris. I dreamt about as a boy performing in Paris, and I made it. And I remember arriving in Paris and thinking, oh my God.
I lived there for 5 years.
Crazy.
It's fucking sick.
I mean, you have the highest form of expression in fashion right next to the craziest, deepest form of poverty.
Yeah.
And they live side by side.
And racism and menacing and fascism and
It reminded
you
me too
know-
much of New York. And
Yeah.
I was born in Denver, Colorado, which is very nature structured.
Yeah.
There's rivers and mountains and valleys and
those
I need
cities, they
that.
suck you.
They
Especially
concrete
Paris
jungle.
and London, because the whole French constitution is based on Paris is the queen. Everything goes to. They even tax them so hard in the highways. I
Yeah.
think
I
so
read-
people will stay in Paris.
Yeah.
And Paris is this megalopolis,
Yeah.
menacing,
Yeah.
ugly on the outskirts,
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
And comme on dit en français, les Parisiens sont des râleurs. They like to complain, and I
Yeah.
don't blame them.
Yeah.
I lived there for fun. It's for me. Paris will always be love-hate relation.
Yeah.
I will be in Paris this 30 of March
Mm.
to celebrate my dear drum teacher, who's celebrating 80 years, and he's Monsieur Georges Pazanski, and he's doing this birthday in the renowned Sunset Club. So whoever is in Paris and follow us, 30 of March is a very big date. And happy birthday, Georges. So yeah, and Hamburg is a nice alternative because Hamburg is this city.
Mm.
It gives you everything,
Mhm.
but it's not like, my God, this
Yeah.
is too big, like Berlin
Yeah.
or Paris or London, right?
Yeah. My ex-wife was 1,000% correct because it harmonized with my plan. My plan was to come to Europe and travel as an American making music. And the real positive side of that is I knew for a fact I've gone on tour in America. I know what it's like to get in a van and drive 10 hours and turn up late to the next gig and then put all of your money that you made for that concert in the gas can just to drive 10 hours to the next show. That's crazy. That's financially not possible. And I knew for a fact when I came to Europe, I'd be able to visit 4 or 5 different cultures and not have to travel over 4 hours. So I knew that was a financial and physically logistical positive plan for me. And it worked to a T. It's still working.
So you are happy.
I am very happy. I'm very, not only am I happy, I'm proud of myself that I conquered or I overcame my fear and the doubting of every human being that I know, because everyone looks at you and says, "Are you crazy? What are you doing? You're going where? That's not going to work. You're not that guy. You can't do that. It's not going to work." And I think some 20 something years later, I'm still swinging my fists, and I have no intention of slowing down. In fact, this last year after Corona, I got another shock. I had an amazing summer. My manifesto, I realized, I actually put it into practice, and it worked. And the manifesto was based on what I was thinking of as a kid, which you have to understand what that means for me as a man, as a human being, to think, okay, that thing I was thinking back when I was a kid, I actually did it.
Right.
It wasn't just a dream. It wasn't talk. It wasn't chat. I can show. Right here's my experience.
Yeah.
I did it. And
do you think that happiness is a choice?
yes, happiness is a choice. And I believe after losing my marriage and losing many, many bands, as musicians we start and bands are ended, I believe happiness is the process of letting go. If you can't let go, you can't be happy. I also believe
Absolutely true.
I also believe happiness is a form of currency, which means if I want something, then I have to make room for it in my box. So I have to let something go.
Right.
That's how I approach things. I've noticed most people base themselves on privilege. Well, I want it because I deserve it. And deserve for me is always a funny word to use, because I don't think any of us have the perspective to really judge whether we've done enough or not to have something. So when I look at things, and I have arguments with so many human beings over this, but when I want to achieve something, the first thing I think to myself is not how much does that cost, but what do I need to let go of so that I can afford?
That's very beautiful. That's very
happiness
smart.
is a practice of letting go.
Very smart. Well,
Which
thank
took
you,
me
Thank you
years.
for this insight.
It took me the entire time that I've been here in Hamburg to really learn. And the irony is that if you don't learn this lesson, life will force you.
Yeah.
Because the only constant that we have is that things change, which means every day, every second, life is taking something from you, either your life or your health or your money or everything that you hold dear. It's a very Zen type of, I've studied different cultures on the planet, and in Zen, what I really appreciate from them is they won't allow themselves to touch something unless in their soul they've already let it go. They possess nothing without the thought that at some point this is not mine forever. Nothing is mine forever. So I've already made a departure letter for whatever it is I'm doing. I think that reduces stress, and I think that extends life. That's happiness. Being able to let go and not being stuck or being held in that position. That's true happiness.
And what is your definition of success, and when did you feel successful in your life? And did success have a price?
Success has a massive price that comes back to what I just said. Best example is it was not a happy emotion that I felt on the day that I left America. And I was kind of hoping that my mom would say no, because I left two sisters who saw me as a father figure. I left my mother behind, who was still dealing with the death of my father.
Yeah, I want to just turn off this light. Maybe the image will be better. I don't know. What do you think, Carter?
No, turn it on.
Turn it on? Sorry. We are still experimenting. It is
Backlight.
like second podcast. And
Backlight.
Howard's a darker.
I'm a dark man. I need that light. That's right.
yeah.
Um,
I'm sorry that I cut you.
No.
Please.
So when I finally allowed myself, and you have to imagine how hard this was for me. From the time I was 8, I used to play in my room on my cassette, two cassette boombox that I was producing my own radio show. And I would bounce back from song to song, and I would pretend in a microphone to have my own. I'm broadcasting to Paris. When I was a kid, I was thinking about this. When I finally allowed myself to even consider maybe I should do this in reality instead of just tell myself it's never going to happen. The pain that came from the idea, I'm leaving the place where I was born. It is the most familiar place to me. It doesn't feel like home, but it is the most familiar place that I know.
Yes.
I left my family behind, all the friends I grew up with, all of the projects that were running, all of the dreams that I had for that place, I had to let go of.
Yes.
And the exchange was complete darkness. I mean, there was nothing promised to me. It wasn't promised that I would get off the plane in Scotland and succeed. I had to let everything go. But I said to myself, to be able to look back and tell the story, I'm an international musician who did what they wanted to do. Upon returning and saying, this is what I gathered, it's a beautiful thing. Before I left America, I recorded an album within 4 months. So September 11th happened. I decided I'm leaving. 4 months later, the album was done. And I gave it to a friend of my mom's who is a radio DJ. And he played a song on the radio. I was shocked. And I went to him and I asked him, what do you think about the album? And he said, Howard, you're a talented boy. But if you're going to write a love song, you got to go out into the world and get your heart broken. He was like, you can't tell me anything about love. And this was that final push that I
felt
needed.
the same before leaving Israel.
This was
Man,
that-
you need to live.
Yeah.
You need to have an experience.
Yeah, it was the final push that and I got it from a man. A black man told me, hey, you need to get out there. And that was that last final thing that I needed. But letting go of the contacts at the radio station, knowing who's booking the jazz festival every year, letting go of everything easy to take on something not only hard, but with no certainty. It's a massive sacrifice.
I can compare also, my first kid had, when I was 42, and I was pushing this because I was having this conflict between how I'm going to equilibrate, how I was going to balance my ambition for my
anchor.
career
Yeah.
and family, and I was afraid to hurt those little creatures, and then I want to compare the experience of having kids. I feel since I have those one kid and second kid, God bless their soul, that it's the same like going out to the world and meeting the reality.
Yeah.
Having kids is also like you are in the reality, and reality is more painful when you have kids, but maybe you are more connected. And that brings me to another subject that I would like to speak with you. Did you happen to see this French movie which called Le Grand Bleu, The Big Blue, by Luc Besson in the 90s?
Oh, Luc is so hardcore.
Yeah.
I love Luc.
So there was a movie in the 90s that every woman that I was dating in Paris had the soundtrack,
Yeah.
Le Grand Bleu, and it was such a music.
Uh-huh.
And I watched it only five months ago, and it's a very nice atmosphere movie. Let's get to the point. Two guys dive, one of them in Jean Reno, and they dive deep. That's their thing, with no balloons. And they compete with each other. And the other guy from Jean Reno is a young guy, and she fall in love with me. If we fall in love with him, and leaves Canada. Fall in love with me. What Freud would say. I know why. Because a friend of me in France told me, you remind me of the other
him,
character.
so you say
and
me.
like, that's me. Let's be honest. So she fell in love with him, and she moved from Canada to the south of France for the diving. And this very beautiful with the south of, and then at some point he come back from a diving, and she tell him, why did you stay there so long? How can you do it? He said, when I'm down there, I really need a good reason to come up. So
wow.
I'm kind of bringing this to the table of our talk, diving with your music, with your art. I think that's why I was so afraid of having kids. Like, they're gonna take me this escape, like you said about your mother going to do the salsa dance and shows, the escape of reality.
Yeah.
We all escape. 95% of the musicians start to play because they want to get the fuck away from the parents' house, from this pressure, from this no hope, whatever, Everybody sings about it.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you agree, Carter? Yeah. And it's like, And then you got it. You got this amazing. My God, I'm a musician and I can spend hours fucking alone, and then
Empty.
and then you become some kind of a
A monster.
a monster,
It's a-
misanthrope.
Yeah.
Sting said
Yeah.
he doesn't know if you're born misanthrope and become musician, or you become a musician and then a misanthrope.
That's a good question.
And then you got this thing, and then the outside world managed to take it because you have to pay the rent, because you
Yeah.
have kids, and you have
Yeah.
wife that say,
Yeah.
why don't you?
Yeah.
And you're like, they're gonna take my music.
Yeah.
This is my, you know.
Yeah.
And I had a moment of revelation regarding having kids. My friend Has Keita was a reggae singer in Paris. I went to visit him when I was 40, and my wife was with me there. And he told me, so what about kids? I
Mhm.
said, I don't know. We will wait. We will
Mm.
see.
Anchor.
And he told me, he was very angry, and he told me, when finally you gonna land in this reality?
Yeah.
And I will never forget this reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel since the kids are born, in a way, I'm less addicted to the fantasy.
Yeah.
And so my art is more realistic, because there is a risk in art.
Yeah.
There is a risk in art of being totally
Yeah.
detached from reality, totally in your zone.
Yeah.
And
Very
if you are,
egomaniac. so.
very.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works against you when
Yeah.
the world love what you do, because, hey, go.
Kanye West.
If you want to elaborate, yeah.
Kanye West.
Like, go
best
for it.
example.
You're just fucking crazy, and we love it.
You're amazing. Whatever
Amy
you do,
Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse. Whatever you say, yes, I will never say no to you. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
That's dangerous.
Kill yourself in front of my eyes. That
Yeah.
would be the best.
That's dangerous. That's
like,
dangerous.
and that's, you know, and very few people, like, it's the deal with the devil, you know. We used to say about a blues musician that, you know, go to some kind of a junction and they made a deal with
And
the
they made a
devil. They
deal.
came back and then they play their ass off. It's a deal with the devil.
Yes. However, I think this is in every form of life the same. Because I don't think it matters if you're an artist or if you're doing something different. The thing about children, and this is why people say, this is why some people say, I don't want to bring children into this world. That's exactly what they're afraid of. They're afraid of losing their own freedom and autonomy, and they're afraid of the autonomy of their child.
Right.
But I justified it in my heart with this statement. No matter how bad it gets, it's not the first time it's been that bad. And the idea that it's better to not bring children into the world is to give in to the concept that whoever out there is creating mischief and evil, let them have it. For me, that's giving up. But that's just for me.
Yeah.
I knew at a very young age I wanted to have children. When my father passed away, I knew for sure I wanted to have children, because for me, losing my father was a clear definition of the idea of leaving, or better yet, the niche. There's, you know, everybody has a niche.
Yeah.
I won't say you have a destiny or that you're born by God to do something, but there's definitely places in the world for people to fit.
Sure.
And with all those people who said to me, I'm not going to bring a child in this world, I thought to myself, well, I know how much love I have to give.
Yeah.
And if I can give that love to a child, no matter how bad this world gets, that child is only going to make this world better. So for me to refuse to carry on to give my love because people out there are acting inhumane, I think is to let them win.
Yeah, that's one concept. I must say out loud, and I know that you're going to agree with me, it's not a must.
No.
And I was so afraid of it, and I just in the last moment I was so lucky to have my wife to be able to, and I cannot tell you that I'm a happier person now had I haven't had kids. That's, I cannot tell you. And I cannot tell to anyone who doesn't have kids, a woman or a man, that they are missing something. That is that's not what I'm saying.
No, and I wouldn't say, I would never judge. I would never judge and say to someone yes, no. But my proof, and I proved it to myself, was I noticed very early on that my daughter has a lot of the strengths that I have. And she was interested in them too. She was interested in singing and dancing. She had an interest. And when
but Howard, but there is a wave of people nowadays a bigger waves of people in Germany, they don't bring kids, and they and society judge them, and that's for me it's a big issue because I was there for
Yeah.
42
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and I don't know. Sometimes it's social pressure. Sometimes it's and sometimes some people have another thing to say to give. Maybe it's art. Maybe they are a great teacher. Maybe they are a philosopher. Maybe it's better that they won't have kids. Maybe they have. I feel like to connect to spirituality. Like if I wouldn't have kids, I would probably I don't know what, do crazy things and attain maybe higher spiritual goals.
Yeah.
And that's a very complicated. But I think if I'm not, the point is what is the purpose of art, and how do you not get totally crazy and sunk into it and lose your connection to reality?
The purpose of art is communication. We use different art forms to express things in a different way. When I was young and my parents split, I stopped speaking. My mother sent me to a therapist, and she told my mother he needs a new way of communicating because the spoken word and speaking to people, the trust is gone. She sent me to theater class, and the theater director gave me a solo piece on stage by myself. And I realized there's another way for me to express myself. Art is communication. Now, the way that you don't lose yourself in this safe space that we create as artists, being able to say whatever you want to say because there's artistic license, Kanye West. The way that you don't lose yourself, and this is what Kanye is saying, this is what he lost, and that's why he's flipping out. When you have a family, when you have children, they ground you. No matter where you go doing whatever, if it's art or you're a motocross driver or you're a snowboarder, when the competition is done and you come home to your hotel and you're alone and the fans are gone and the acclaim is gone, there's still that kid. Hey daddy, how was the gig? That's grounding. That's you come back. You float around, you create, you mingle with everyone, but that family, that kid, that brings you back to the ground.
Yeah.
And
protects you from diving too deep and losing yourself, and
it also not only humbles you, but it also sharpens you because you realize you have eyes on you. You know,
right,
like
you have to be the best version of yourself.
I try not to be an asshole
Yeah,
because she's watching me.
Yeah.
It also keeps you young. I just in the connection with my daughter, I'll ask her, "What are you listening to? What is that?" And she'll tell me, "This is that." I like that. If she wasn't there, I'd be in my own world.
Sure.
I wouldn't know
Totally.
anything about what's going on right now.
Totally.
You know, the fact that we have such a close relationship means I can give her my wisdom from my mistakes, but she can give me a perspective of life that I normally wouldn't have from her youth.
Yeah.
That's grounding.
You cannot also stay selfish because they look at you and like, you're being selfish now.
And they'll tell you. Yeah. No. They say straight away,
like
what are
just
you
a look,
doing?
You know,
Yeah.
just my baby is 8 months. Every morning he wakes me up at 5 in the morning, and like, if I just go for more than 2 minutes, he's like, and you're like, you can't stand it. You know, like, have to be there for him.
No. I find family, and that's why I kind of spiraled out of control. I think that's why Kanye is spiraling out of control. That's why Will Smith spiraled out of control. 'Cause we as people, men, women, no matter what, we as people need that anchor, because they wanna sell us that the universe is chaos. I don't think it's chaos, but it's definitely beyond our perception. And so we need something we can perceive.
I want to speak with you about the phenomenon, and I know that you are cool enough and flexible enough, and you mentioned Kanye, you mentioned Will Smith, and I want to speak with you. You are an Afro-American, and I will say this follow. I feel, when I observe Lauryn Hill, when I observe, I also put Amy Winehouse, even though she's not Afro-American. I observe artists from minorities, mainly from Africa, with immense amount of talent. Michael Jackson, Prince, Lauryn Hill. hundreds of them, and the talent and the honesty is huge, and the success is incredible. But they have the African voodoo. They have sometimes problem to keep it together.
Yeah.
Compare Prince and Michael Jackson to Madonna.
Yeah.
She kept herself together in the end of the day, much more than both of them, and they are a raw talent. Let's not compare.
Yeah, it's
Let's
hard
be-
comparison.
But you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I do. And to be honest, we have to be honest. Art is a form of prayer. And when you look at the black culture, the diaspora of black culture, many people will argue, but from the first civilizations, from the first meditations of scientific thought, I'll give you a better example. You have what's called genetic code in huskies. If you want to put a new lead dog on your husky sled, that dog should be the child of husky leaders and not just the ones that run. Because they say the children born from the husky leaders instinctively have genetic code to where they are more susceptible to learning what they need to learn to do the job. Now, I'm not saying that blacks are genetically better than everyone else. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I remember at 6, somebody handed me a djembe and I started playing. And I did not need a lesson. I understood bass, tone, slap, go. And I felt that this is something that came instinctively.
Sure.
You know? And I think it's very true that some of the genetic code encapsulates some of these talents. The other thing, to your question, you have to consider is the environments. Sadly, the realities of different people and different cultures are so opposite, even though they live on top of each other.
Sure.
Actually, it's a good comparison because when you take someone like Madonna, you have to think she was somebody who was able to use the strengths that she had in a way that is going to be received differently than a Nina Simone. Let's take them two. There you go. Madonna, Nina Simone. Yeah. Nina had not only to deal with the talent that she had, but she had to deal with the stigma as well. And I got to be honest and say Madonna, not so much.
Absolutely.
When she sang Material Girl, nobody had a problem. There's no problem with Madonna being a material girl or wanting a material world. Fine.
Amplified what Marilyn Monroe did. But she was very brave, and she breaks through a lot of stigmas.
But the statement makes sense because this is a blonde-haired woman in New York, young, very fine, talented, who says, I want what I want. And then you have Nina Simone, who says, my baby just cares for me. Nina is looking to be seen, whereas Madonna is looking to holding on to being seen. And those are two different things.
Absolutely.
Those are two completely different
Absolutely.
things. So
the pressure in the end of the day, like I read in this biography by James Brown, I Feel Good, he put a sculpture of huge handkerchief. How do you say this?
handshake? Handcuffs.
Handcuffs.
Okay. Yeah.
In his garden.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
And he said, I put it in my garden to remember how heavy and hard the handcuff this country, these states,
Right.
want to put on me.
Right.
And this is a man that say, for me, country, like the country is very important for him. He's patriotic.
Yeah.
But
living in America.
exactly. But what he had to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the success and the segregation, I cannot understand it. It's like you and me, we cannot understand what a woman, every woman in the world, in Hamburg at least.
I will never
at
know.
5 o'clock in the afternoon when it's getting dark, what she feels when she walks and she hears the steps.
And it's justified too. That's the scariest part.
Yeah.
But I do feel like because the black artist is fighting to be seen, it creates all of these other aspects in reality that we see today. Will Smith has been fighting for the acceptance of his wife. Meanwhile, he's been balancing the over-attention from the world. Nina Simone married a ex-police officer who beat her up. Why did she do that? Because she felt vulnerable. She wanted to be protected.
Right.
And there was nobody to protect this black woman.
Mm.
So she ended up with the wrong guy. And I think, I'm not justifying what Kanye said, but I think a lot of these artists who find themselves at the pinnacle of what they're doing, but they come from places where they would have never imagined that they would be there, I think they have it toughest. That's why you have Beyonce's sister beating up Jay-Z in the elevator, because he's supposed to be an upright man. He's supposed to be a man who loves his kids and his wife. He's not supposed to be cheating on his wife. You're a multi-millionaire, billionaire artist. You have Beyonce as a wife. You have 2 beautiful kids. Beyonce's talented, has her own money. You're going to cheat on her? Huh? I think this aspect of the black experience is what brings a Lauryn Hill to be incarcerated for years, being chased by the IRS, abandoned by her husband,
just losing her mind.
losing her mind.
And
Although she's one of the most talented voices we had in that decade.
But after this album, The Miseducation, there was this acoustic unplug, which is nothing to write home about, and that's it.
And that's
it's
it.
incredible. She was 23.
She was 23. They
And this
took
is a milestone in the music.
They took, and it's a lot of people don't know this. I might be wrong. It's a shame we don't have a fact checker. But I'm pretty sure Rita Marley
You can
took
check it.
all of the money from Miseducation of Lauryn Hill because she sampled heavily from Bob Marley. She thought that because she was married to a Marley, she had copyright connection.
Okay.
She thought she could use them. So when Rita sued and the label realized they're going to lose, the label paid Rita out. So do you know how much money Lauryn Hill made from the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill? Goose egg. 0.
Really?
Nothing.
And that can drive you mad.
It would drive me to smoke crack. I would
everyone,
smoke crack.
Everyone.
No matter how many children I have. That's hopelessness. And you have to think, she was a young black girl in New York, probably hopeless. And then she met Whoopi Goldberg and was on a film and, oh man, I'm making music
Fugees.
and Fugees, bam, traveling, touring the whole world.
Yeah.
And married to a Marley. I mean, that's royalty.
I just bring myself a heater. Excuse me.
That's-
Please continue.
That's absolute royalty to marry a Marley and
Yeah.
to be on top of the game, to be a true diva.
Yeah.
Not in the ego sense of the word, but a true diva.
Yeah.
And then to have it all topple down and the government give it to you right in the ass. To have your husband, your partner, turn and walk out on you, leave you with all the kids. And then, let's be honest, that's genetic memory.
But what a tragedy, because she's the most successful artist. She made a crazy revolution. She made an album that, like the second album of Amy Winehouse, like the
Yeah.
first Björk, like,
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
like, these are musical events. This is an event. The first Finley Quaye,
Yeah.
also same kind of fun. Same.
Yeah.
He's a cracker. He's
Yeah.
a drug addict
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
days. You know
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But you see, none of them have anchors. None of them. Lauryn Hill had no anchor in her life.
yeah.
And so she was looking and got lost. You can see in each of those. Kanye lost his wife. He starts talking trash. For him, it's his wife. But we in the
Yeah.
real world, we
Or-
see what's going on there. You know, like
Tyson lost Casamato.
when Tyson, the man cries.
He's done.
It was his father.
Yeah.
It was literally, I mean, he adopted him, which is crazy, man. Like,
Since then, nobody could ever hurt me. He told me, "You're gonna be the world champ." I
Hey,
didn't believe
he
it.
told him what he needed to, and I gotta say it again.
He hypnotized
a man.
him. He hypnotized him.
But I'm telling you, a man. My father was not in my life. I mean, I visited him on Sundays. We watched
Sure,
football,
sure.
but I didn't get that from him.
Yeah.
What my father told me was, whatever you do, go to university, get a degree. I laughed in his face.
Yeah.
At, like, I must have been 12, 13 years old. I laughed at him. First of all, because he didn't put a penny down for me to go to any university in
Right.
America, so I laughed. But secondly, even me being so young, I thought to myself, what an old-fashioned statement. As if a document is going to assure me a good life. It'll help, but in America, you got to do a little bit more than just get a document, you know? Like, thank you, Carter. You got to have the money, man. And so him saying that also woke me up to the idea, Howard, you need to get something of your own. You need to get a plan together because these people are talking Nonsense.
And let's get back to the voice. You were speaking about Tyson needing Casamato, and you are speaking about the
Yeah.
voice. A man, it's
Yeah.
true, and
Yeah.
I want to relate to it. Like I'm listening now. Like day morning, I woke up at 5 o'clock and I feel like shit, and so I said, like, I need to hear "The Power of Now" by Eckhart Tolle.
Mm.
And he speaks. I have it on audio,
Mm.
and I hear him,
Mm.
and he tell me things I know, but I hear it repeatedly.
Mm.
And then I tell to him, and it relaxes me. And then I say to myself, how important is to have a voice,
Mm.
yeah? Because you cannot be the only voice.
No.
Now, you cannot, but when we think about Muhammad Ali,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason why your father decided to convert to Islam,
Yeah. Opa,
he
Opa.
never shut his mouth,
Yeah.
because he was speaking not only to himself,
Right.
and he got it from whom? From Little Richard.
Mm-hmm.
And this is extremely important. What voice do you hear in your mind? What voice do you hear? You probably hear the voices of your father and mother, excuse me, yeah? And you need some time to get over these voices, and it's important to hear a voice of someone.
Yeah.
Your manager, your booking agency, your
Whoever you decide, whoever your mentor is.
yeah,
it
you
could be
have to
anybody.
have a voice
Yeah.
to hear, and that's extremely important.
When you look at the black culture in America, it is said that the black fathers aren't with their children. That's not exactly true. What
that
happens
relates
is
to what we spoke about, the Africa Voodoo, like the huge talent, the huge, and then like they losing.
problems.
But I want to say there's another phenomenon, which is the tough, ambitious father,
Serena
Richard
Williams. Williams, yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And Joseph Jackson.
Yeah.
Like those guys,
Yeah.
they came with a plan and they brought the best of the best to the world.
Yeah.
Like people hate Joseph Jackson, but without Joseph, you wouldn't have Michael Jackson.
No, but it came from a dark, sick place. Those
Find it,
men,
yeah?
and you see it in Will Smith. That's why he went up there and smacked Chris. He went up there because he thought, well, I'm Richard.
Really?
I don't know why nobody else notices this. He went up there as Richard. He didn't go up there as Will Smith.
Okay, wow, this is new.
Because when he hit Chris and turned around and walked away, he smiled.
Okay.
For him, that wasn't Will Smith in that moment.
You sure?
He allowed himself to let Richard be in his
Okay.
in his space. He said, I'm going to go up there and do what Richard would.
Right.
I'm not going to do it. Will
You
Will would
see?
sit here and go, ha, ha,
You
ha,
see,
ha,
the art took over the reality.
The art took over the reality. See, and that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have, and do you know his story? His father was scary. Will Smith's father was a preacher. They were so broke, they were homeless. And his father walked by an empty lot, and his father said, we're going to build a church here and live here. And they built with their hands and the donations of the people in the area. They built a church and lived there.
He said that in the Pursuit for Happiness, which is a fantastic movie directed by an Italian artist. As soon as the movie started, I said, "This is the art. Like something is going on." Like, because he's a virtuous actor, I admire him. And then you see the Pursuit of Happiness. But long story short, he said that the way he's kind of do a replica of his father.
Yeah.
Always looking for something
Yeah.
late,
Yeah.
a bit, yeah,
Yeah, a bit
fluffy and yeah. So Will's father, and I had another, like, speaking about Will Smith believing he's King Richard,
Mm-hmm.
and speaking about the fantasy. America brought to the world Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I feel like now we are living like, I know myself, yeah. Like Requiem for a Dream, yeah? You know what I mean? Like the dream and the fantasy and the theatrical piece are taking over.
Yeah.
And put Biden aside, but who was the president until now? The best show in town. Barack Obama, best show.
Mm.
Donald Trump, the best show.
Mm.
Not the best, well, that's
Mm.
not, you know what I mean? The
Oh,
show.
Reagan was a great comic, and he was an actor.
Yes. Yeah,
So-
and this country took show business and entertainment to the top, and I
Yeah.
am like admiring.
Yeah.
And who am I? I'm a totally product of the American culture. I'm from Israel, and so I'm not now, but I'm like, yeah.
But
Is there is a culture without being addicted and being, I I am Othello. I am King Richard.
That's a
you know?
really good question. And I'm going to say no. You have to be a little egomaniac and you have to be a little crazy. But the trick is to come home. And
Right.
if you have children, if
Right.
you have a wife
Right.
or a husband who really loves you, no matter you fall on your face, whether you have $1 or $1 million,
Yeah.
if you don't have that,
Yeah.
then eventually you will lose
Absolutely.
and the ego will take over. I think that's the
Absolutely.
difference.
Absolutely.
That's how you stay sane and still be in character. Because you have to give up. When I do theater, I make sure that the character I take on gets a piece of Howard. Because I have to make that character come alive.
Yeah.
If you look at Jim Carrey, or
That was extremely interesting what he came out with the last 2 years.
it took him years. It took him years to not speak like the character. The actor who was doing the stuttering English king,
Yeah. Calling.
Colin, he stutters still to this day.
Really?
He still has a stuttering
Oh yeah,
problem.
that's a disease of actors.
He has a stuttering
That's a
problem now.
really?
He gave himself
No.
he to this day.
Oh fuck.
He's going to a doctor
Fuck.
to work on getting rid of it. He was that into the
I'm
part.
gonna read about it. But you know, there's a lot of actor. I think Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, another
like,
one.
Like he's like
Fully.
it's like this is the devil taking me and I need to go. It's
Or the Joker is the pivotal example. He lost himself in that role.
Phoenix.
Yeah. No.
Nicholson.
No. Joker.
Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix.
That's the new Joker. I mean the old Joker.
Okay.
The guy who passed away. Why so serious? Heath Ledger. Yeah, thank you. Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger was so deep into the part that after it, he had depression from acting the way he did with other people. He said it broke his soul that he would treat people that way, to where after the film was done, he internalized the guilt and he couldn't get rid of it.
Mm.
So you have to be careful. You're sharing your soul with the art form to give it life, but it can't take over your life. You got to be able to come home or go to the forest and regenerate that energy so you can continue creating. Otherwise, it burns you out.
Don't gain the world and lose your soul.
No, exactly. It burns you out.
Wisdom is better than silver and gold.
Yeah.
How did he die at 37 years old? The genius of them all.
Bob.
The guy who wrote the Bible on 2 chords. Like I've been like the last 5 years, like I've like the last. My son name is Marley.
Yeah.
That's an idea of my darling wife.
He was my inspiration as well. Easily.
He's like.
In fact, let me tell you this. My middle name is Booker. And the reason why my middle name is Booker is because somewhere in my family there were Bookers. Now, Bob's mother's last name is Booker.
Wow. Amazing.
And where my family comes from in America is close to the area where his mother.
How about we do a spontaneous Bob?
Oh, I would love
Let's
to
go.
do. I love Bob. Of
Let's
course,
go.
let's do Bob.
You need to plug yourself in.
Yeah,
please.
true. I love Bob.
So let me tell you my favorites.
Yeah.
And if you have them, you do it.
Yeah.
The Rebel one. So Rat Race,
Uh-huh.
Crazy Bullet,
Uh-huh.
Ambush in the Night,
Uh-huh.
One Drop, Zimbabwe, but then take it wherever you want, man. I know I'm drumming.
Well, there's war, but the one that I really like.
I know him and I know war.
Yeah. The one that I really like is Waiting in Vain. But
Go for it. Go for it. Waiting in Vain for me. I was 19 years old. I fell in love with a woman 3 years older than me. She broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
It was an impossible love story.
Mm.
And for years I waited for her in vain.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
man,
But
it's
see,
a
I
window
also-
to my heart.
But I always took his lyrics in this song as a love letter to the self.
To himself?
Yeah.
Mm.
Don't wait.
Right. Very nice.
Don't wait. That's how I always interpreted it. Of course, it works as a love song, but I know that they did their best to get away from love songs. I think I'm gonna stay seated. This is kind of comfortable.
You want to stay seated?
Yeah, why not?
Zach can adjust your mic.
Nah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this broadcast. I'm enjoying it to the max. This guy is so interesting, and we have so much in common. And it's been an inspiring talk. And we're gonna kind of maybe take it on from here from music.
Yeah.
We're gonna say goodbye to the talking. The Mighty Howard is DJing every Tuesday
In La Funk.
in Hamburg,
In Hamburg. In La Funk.
and he got album. Sorry,
Probably the best bar in Hamburg.
probably the best bar in Hamburg, and he got his music on Spotify.
No, I'm no longer on Spotify. Sadly, but not sadly, because they are whack. But my music is on SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
Yeah. The Mighty Howard.
And what else can we say? I have the impression this is definitely not the last time we meet, or
No,
that
no,
you
no,
are
no, no.
coming to this podcast.
No.
So delighted. And we're gonna play some Bob. We're gonna
Yeah.
play a song by you. We're gonna
Yeah,
play
yeah.
some original tracks, and then we say goodbye. Everybody at home, stay with us. We got a key.
Wait. One sec. I'm almost there.
Yeah. It's the C part. You're bothered about the C part.
Yeah. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. From the very first time I blessed my eyes on you, girl, my heart say follow through. But I know now that I'm way down on your grind, and the waiting feel is fine. So don't treat me like a puppet on a string, 'cause I know how to do my thing. Hey,
Tears in my
eyes, girl, tears in my eyes, girl, while I'm waiting for my turn. You see, I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. Hey, I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain. Hey, Carter.
Ladies and gentlemen, with us today, the amazing Carter Lange. Also an interesting character, moving from Minneapolis
Minnesota.
to Hamburg. Very talented young man. We're gonna have him in this podcast again. Yeah, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, man. been 3 years since I knocking on your door, and I still can knock some more. Ooh, girl, is it or is it not good? I want to know now, for I to knock some more. See, in life I know there's lots of greed, but your love
is my relief.
Oh, they go,
Tears in my eyes,
girl.
Tears in my eyes.
Tears in my eyes, girl.
While I'm
waiting for my turn. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain. I don't wanna wait in vain. No, I'm not waiting for. It's my love that you're running from.
It's the love that I'm waiting for. It's my love that I'm running from. Don't you wait too long for the love to come. Let it shine in your heart today. Look at your face and look at your love. Come on, coming from above. Nothing will guide you than yourself. Love is here to stay and wave. Don't wait too long. Nothing can go wrong. Keep it boom. Yo. Edith, oh. Betty.
Yeah. Oh. Whoa. Beep hard. Summer is here, and I'm still waiting there.
Winter is here,
and I'm still waiting there. I don't wanna wait in vain. I don't wanna wait in vain. No, I don't wanna wait in vain. No, I don't wanna wait in vain. Simmer down, your head is too hot, so simmer down. Soon you get dropped, so simmer down. You hear what I'm saying? Hear what I'm saying? Hear what I'm saying? Oh yeah. Oh no. No. Hey. Ooh. been a long, long time since I blessed my eyes on you. And now you are here, I say it's so clear to see what we can do, honey. Hold me and you, or we could steer it up. Little darling, steer it up.
Come on,
Steer it up. Little darling, steer it up. I bless the wood, bless the fire. Said I satisfy your heart desire. Every little minute, yeah. Keep it in it. All you got to do is stir your pot, so steer it up. Little darling, steer it up.
little darling, come on.
Steer it up. Little darling, steer it up. Oh, how I love Bob Marley. Much love and respect to the Marley family. All the sons, all the daughters. Family of royalty. Despite all the negativity, to make such positive music.
They're crazy. Gonna chase those crazy bullets out of a town. Chase those crazy bullets out of a yard. A high knife in the cabin. A high knife in the corn. Eaten my people before me. Slave for this country. Now you look me with that scorn. And you eat up all my corn. Gonna chase those crazy
bullets out of town.
Chase those crazy bullets.
Chase those crazy bullets
out of a town. Build your penitentiary, build your schools, brainwash education to make us the fool. Hatred you reward for our love, telling us of your God above. We're gonna
Chase those crazy bullets out of town.
chase them crazy bullets.
Gonna chase those crazy bullets out of town.
Here come the conmen, driving
With their gun
gunmen.
plan.
We gonna pay no bribe, got to stay alive.
Aha. All right. Steer it up. Little darling, steer it up. Come on and steer it up. Little darling, steer it up.
Rastafari, ever living, ever
For sure.
Ja!
Rastafari.
Okay, guys, how about we leave the people in home with this one track we did as a...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Cool. Let's jam. Why not?
Thank you very much, everybody at home. This is going to be our last song. We are so very thankful for your support, for your attention. I'm going to be this Saturday night in Hamburg at the Freundlich und Kompetent with my live DJ set. 9 o'clock, Freundlich und Kompetent. Going to be crazy night. We thank you for your donation, for your support. I want to say thanks to my Patreon followers. The people who pay me every month a little donation so I can keep going with my dream. That's very, very kind. You know who you are. Carter, thank you so much. You've been priceless. And hello to the mother of Carter, who's having her vacation. Thank you for bringing such a lovely creature to this world. He's a talented boy, a talented man, and a big heart.
Thank you, Miss Lang. Thank you.
We take care of him here. Now? You hear? Yeah? One,
gotta get up. You gotta get up. Take it down. Take it down. gotta get up. You gotta get up to get down. You got to get up. You gotta get up to get down. To get down. To get down.
Okay, that was the Mighty Howard,
Hey,
the music podcast, every Monday evening. It was our very second episode. I'm really, really thankful for your visit.
thank you for the invitation.
Carter, thank you. Thank you at home. See us next Monday, 8 o'clock. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
To get down.
Write us, write me. Write me.
To get down.
Ride on your life. Ride on. Thank you very much, everybody.
To get down.